Hi everyone, so we're going to circle back and take a look at our container experiment, the water demonstration. If you remember, I had taken two containers and I put a paper towel in an open container and then or wet paper towels in an open container and one in a closed container, and I let it sit. It's now been about 2 days and we're going to check to see if our predictions were correct. Okay, so the first thing, if you remember, these both weighed 3 ounces. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to weigh each one to see, do they still weigh 3 ounces or do they weigh something different, and what happened? All right, so I'm going to turn on the scale. Okay, make sure it gets to 0. And it's at 0. Okay, so the one that's closed weighs 3 ounces. Okay, it still weighs 3 ounces. And then the one that's open now weighs 2.75 ounces, 2.75 ounces. So this one lost about 0.15 of an ounce. So this one now weighs less. I wonder why. What happened there? Well, let's take a look at this paper towel. This is the paper towel that was in the open container, and if you can see this and hear this, you'll notice that it is completely dry. It's dry. Okay, so I wonder what happened to that water. Where did it go? Was your prediction correct? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to open this container to see what's going on with the paper towel inside. And this one, if you can see, is still wet. It's very wet. Okay, like nothing happened. I don't know, you can actually see water on my fingers. Okay, so, and if you look inside, I don't know if you can actually see that, there are water droplets. And then on the top of this container, I know it's kind of hard to see, but there are a few water droplets. So it looks like maybe in this container, okay, well, first let's go back to this one. So what happened? A lot of you guys talked about this. In your answers, you said that the water would evaporate, just like with a puddle outside. If you have it exposed to air, or if you have it exposed to the sun, that water is eventually going to dry up. If it starts out in the morning, by the afternoon, it'll probably be dry. No more puddle, because water evaporates by the heat or being exposed to air. So over time, water will evaporate. That means that it will turn from a liquid state into water vapor in the air. Okay, so it's invisible and it's in the air. So it's all gone. That's why it weighs less, because the water evaporated into the air. Now this one weighed the same amount, and as I was saying, you could see that there were water droplets inside and there were water droplets on top. And that's because the water tried to evaporate, but it could not escape. So it stayed inside. And so basically, once it hit the top, it cooled again. It did evaporate and turn into water vapor. It cooled again and became condensation. It will condense back to that liquid state. So I have 3 questions for you, I think, maybe 4 questions that you're going to go ahead and answer. The first question is, what happened? Was your prediction correct? So first answer, was your prediction correct? Then, what happened to the paper towel in the open cup? In the open cup, which you should be able to answer now that we talked about it. And then, what happens to the water in a paper towel when it evaporates? So what happened to that water when it evaporated? Where did it go? What happened to it? What state did it change into? And then lastly, what happened in this closed container that I just talked about? What happened in that container? All right, so now you're going to go back and you're going to answer those questions.